One of the most important baseline tests everyone needs is a saliva test. What are we looking for in the saliva test? When we collect your saliva in a small tube and send it to the lab, we specifically want the lab to look for 5 bacteria. There are 5 highly risky bacterial pathogens that if they reside in your saliva in the mouth, then we know there's a direct correlation with heart attack, stroke, dementia, diabetes, and actually a whole host of other health problems. So these 5 bacteria, and I'll call them by their initials, PG, AA, TD, TF, and FN, can be detected at a very low concentration. And you want all of these bacteria to be absolutely eradicated. There's one exception to that. We might tolerate a little bit of FN if it is a good species of FN. So why are these 5 bacteria implicated? There's any number of bacteria and yeast and fungus and viruses. There's all kinds of pathogens we could test for in the saliva. Why are we looking at these 5 specifically? Because in my line of work, specifically heart attack prevention, we know that these 5 are directly implicated, and I'll explain to you how. Because a lot of times, and I know when I first heard about testing these saliva for these bacteria, I thought, how does that even work? How can bacteria in my mouth put my heart at risk or put my arteries at risk? Well, it's because these bacteria don't just stay in the mouth. Think about how many times you're breathing and the moisture from the mouth comes up, the nose from the mouth comes down, and then you swallow all of that. So you're swallowing these bacteria. So the bacteria can get into the bloodstream through swallowing them, and then that we know that everything we swallow either is eliminated or gets into the intestinal lining, goes through the intestinal barrier, and goes directly into the bloodstream. That's one way. The other way is we have a lot of blood vessels in our mouth. And so these bacteria can directly get into the blood vessels directly through the mouth, in the gums, and get into the bloodstream. So when these bacteria get in the bloodstream, they are dangerous. For example, these bacteria increase the amount of the bad cholesterol, so the concentration of bad cholesterol. And so remember how we talked about the lining of the blood vessel? And it's not just that cholesterol is the problem, but if we do have a lot of elevated dangerous cholesterol and an unhealthy artery wall, then that's a setup for vascular disease. Well, these pathogens play a critical role in disrupting things and causing damage in that regard, increasing the amount of this, what's called apolipoprotein B, the most dangerous type of LDL, bad cholesterol. So you have more of it. And then secondly, remember how we talked about that thin lining in the endothelium, the lining of the blood vessel? So these pathogens make that lining less healthy, and in fact, more permeable, leaky, so that these bacteria and the bad cholesterol can then get into the wall of the artery. So your barrier that protects you is now broken from these dangerous endotoxins, they're called, that are released from these highly dangerous bacteria. So more bad LDL, they can get through the lining that's supposed to keep your LDL from getting into the wall of the artery. And then thirdly, once your LDL has gotten through that lining and into the wall of the artery, then it's stuck like glue. The bacterial pathogens just cause, you know, I'm from Texas, cause a mess in there. In other words, it's like an ooey gooey, sticky mess that your body's trying to clean that up by sending in white blood cells and other components to help heal that. But it's a battle going on in there. And oftentimes, because these bacteria are involved, then it gets so sticky that the bad actors cannot get out of the wall of the artery and instead start to develop a sore or develop the beginning of plaque, and then develop a large plaque. And then it can become an actually unstable plaque, the more dangerous type of plaque. So that's just a real simplistic explanation of these 5 bacteria and why you need to be tested for them with a simple saliva test. And if you have any one of the five, then you need to work with your healthcare provider to eradicate those five high-risk pathogens. They're directly correlated with heart attack, stroke, diabetes, dementia, and a whole host of chronic diseases. I'm Dr. Gina Pritchard, owner of the Prevent Clinic. Please contact us to learn more.